Good morning. This is the Conversation Project's Things You Might Not Have Heard for Tuesday, the 28th of October, 2025. And the Conversation Project is your home for headline news, information, and pop culture references that are worth chatting about. And we have some pretty chat-worthy things going on today and some things that are just literally blowing my mind. Off the bat, we're going to Hurricane Melissa because it is the largest story going on out there, the largest basically hurricane on the planet now and maybe ever, even more powerful in retrospect than Katrina was back in the day. We also talked about all the shutdowns that are happening at airports, including LAX, literally shutting down for hours. And we're going to get into the fields. And I may actually lose all my marbles when we get to that story in a moment. Plus, five of the stories because eight promised you for Tuesday. And we're going to get them to you in just a moment. I'll remind you that our website, home is a conversationproject.com. Your home, our home online for conversation. You can find all the details about what we do in the background, plus links to our partnerships page and our origin story and other sponsors. Now, we do have the main sponsor that we're going to hot spotlight today. It will be Ground News as normal. It will be the news that is best for you because it's all the news. Sometimes the news that will shake you out of your funk of thinking something's true. All that to come in a bit. So let's get into wrapping into the actual news stories of the day. Start with something a bit light. There's something that literally ended like hours ago, and this is the Dodgers taking lead over the Blue Jays in 2-1 right now in the World Series with an epic 18 inning battle. It was a Marathon Classic that ended 18 innings around midnight local time in LA, as the Angels were finally able to, or as Los Angeles, not the Angels, the Los Angeles Dodgers, they finally get this push over to get the 2-1 series win on the road, leading things. My robot editor is all over the place today. Pitching was a big deal because there were like 18 pitchers that had to throw for both teams, and it was a master class for Shohei Ohtani with 2 home runs and going 4 for 4 in 18 innings. And he's going to be pretty tired because he has to pitch again. He pitched tonight, his first outing on the mound for the Grand Series. Toronto actually stranded a small village of people out there, which made issues of them not getting out into place. And it turned into essentially a fun for all for anyone who stuck around. There were 2 7-inning stretches, one in the 7th, one in the 14th, since they were there so long. And Freddie Freeman, the MVP of last year, hit the final walk-off home run in the 18th to get everybody to go home finally. Like I said, game 2 or game 3, game 4. This is going to be terrible for the replay. Game 4 on the way with Ohtani taking the mound this time. And so no bats to fly. But we'll see what happens if they can actually get an even bigger lead or if Blue Jays can tie it up in LA tonight. Now, the biggest story, the most serious story is Hurricane Melissa. I'm in Jamaica right now and staying a Category 5 storm through the Caribbean. Jamaica is absorbing the direct hit from this 175-mile-an-hour winds, destructive surge, and catastrophic rain totals in Hurricane Melissa. Officials are pre-positioned with evacuations spots and moving to hospital patients as they can. But this is an issue where a place like Jamaica, where many folks think, oh, I can get past this. I've less, I've more, so I've bigger things. When the thing's never this big, you realize it's not much of an effort to try to fight it. So many folks have decided to ride it out. We'll see what happens when the storm clears and how things are going. Right now, there's a lot of folks who are trying to not be jokey about it, but the issues of Jamaica not being able to survive this one is something that has been really, really, really played, maybe overplayed right now. We will see as things go on. Basically, the entire Caribbean, also Cuba is looking at this thing next once it gets past Jamaica, and then where it goes from there, if it hits landfall in the actual Mexico or the United States, we will see how it goes. Next 48 hours is going to be a big deal. Right now, we're still seeing people covering it. There have been massively beautiful pictures of beautiful disasters of inside from hurricane hunters and what's happening from the eye of the storm. But the storm itself, we shall see when the storm has passed. This is Tuesday. We missed out on the Monday edition to do this, but we're sort of glad, not so glad the story's still there because we need to make sure this thing is said. And we did a lot of stories over this over the weekend, a lot of things, not going into it. The government shutdown is still on. That's not the topic of the actual story. But the Trump administration has said that federal food aid will stop on November 1st amid the shutdown crisis. There will be no SNAP benefits issued on November 1st. We've talked about that being a possibility, about being lowered, But now the USDA is saying it's not happening. They basically are scaling down the urgencies, and they're not going to try to shift any more monies going forward for SNAP benefits. Where 21 million beneficiaries could miss payments, Congress doesn't actually solve this thing come Friday. Because if it goes past Friday, the thing being the shutdown, no one gets funding. Governors of food banks have warned this immediately has been an issue and have been preparing for this thing, but we'll see exactly how big a deal it'll be come Friday. The messaging is kind of scattered. The White House is blaming Congress. Anti-hunger groups are all calling for Congress to get things together. Congress getting all the blame because they should get the blame, but at the same time, it's how things work. They're using this shutdown, they're using the stalemate in shutdown to sort of fight for their ideals because it's the only way they can do that, both Republicans and Democrats. And in the process, we all get hurt. If you are in need of food, do not feel ashamed about checking out a shelter. If you're in need of anything, do not feel ashamed about checking out for help because right now we are all hurting. The prices of everything are up. Even if you have a good job and have the means, you're seeing a crunch in your grocery bill, which is a crunch in everything else. And as winter starts to set in and energy starts to cost more money, it's going to be crazy. The police arrested a couple suspects in a daring $10 million Louvre jewelry heist near Paris. Now, if you see this picture here, if you're watching the video, there's a guy in a fedora holding an umbrella, looking rather suave. He is a police detective working on the case. The other guys are police officers. They're wondering, hey, this guy looks suave, but can he get the job done? Question is, can he get the job done? French police are getting it done, supposedly nabbing two suspects after DNA links to them in the $10 million jewel heist from the weekend. Investigators are reviewing security staffing and camera blind spots to see if they can get more details on whoever is left. The museum executed a rapid closure protocol to protect collections while authorities fan up Paris. That means the Louvre was shut down for a couple of hours and no one could get away, although the folks already got away. Insurance and provenance checks will shape recovery odds and any restitution. Right now, no one knows how the jewels are, if they're still intact, if they're still we call crown jewels, or they've been split up to be sold in pieces. International fencing networks are a primary focus as pieces have been broken up, may have been broken up. So trying to fence the individual diamonds as opposed to the diamonds as one piece is a thing. We're going to ask you, as we always do, at this point right here in the middle of the broadcast, to like, share, and subscribe to the work we're doing. Like what you're seeing if you like it, or if you hate it, but want to see more of it because you want to hate like it. We're okay with that. When you like the scenarios, like the videos, it lets the algorithms know that this is something people are engaging in, enjoying, hopefully, maybe just hate liking it for those cases. I also see that it's either giving you joy, striking a nerve. So I'll probably do more of what you're doing. And that's for me personally. If you know people who would enjoy this type of coverage, share it with them directly. Hopefully they will like and share as well. If you're not getting us directly into your feeds, subscribe. If you were lucky to get this as a share or as something that popped up in the algorithms today because the enough likes were there and you like it, subscribe to it and keep going for more. I'm not even asking for notifications. Just subscribe and check as well. We want your subscriptions. We want you to check as you can. We're not that pushy, but we do need more folks in the News Nerd Nation. Join us by subscribing and liking and sharing as many videos as you can. Flights were halted at LAX after nationwide air traffic controller shortage caused major delays everywhere. But the FAA temporarily grounded all flights at LAX amid the cascading controller shortage. Reports of delays across multiple hubs and LAX being such a big place, things coming in and out internationally became a big issue for all planes in the area. Controllers working without pay during the situation are running very thin and also thin on patients, and the staffing basis of all is very much affected. Airlines are issuing rolling waivers as meter departures and ground stops stacked up nationwide. Travelers should expect compressed push times and lingering irregular operations, even after staffing normalizes. Once everybody's back to being paid and back to where they need to be, all the flights that have been pushed back and turned around have to go back to some semblance of normalcy. Time. The fragility of the system is under a microscope. It has been for a while as we walked over modernization things happening with the Secretary of Transportation have to deal with these things here. Now that we have the shutdown going on and people are not getting paid and they're not showing up with good reason because they're not getting paid, we're gonna see exactly what's happening. The government shutdown is a big issue and it gets bigger when it affects people. We talked about SNAP benefits, we talked about airplanes, we've talked about the people who are getting funding and not getting funding. We had a story last week about the saving of the military payroll by one millionaire who's gave a couple but of money that doesn't count to much. This is serious, must be fixed soon. If you've been watching us for a little while, you have seen the panic in my face as many people are suggesting that it's not only possible, but it's damn near going to happen. Going to happen that Donald Trump will be our next president. How is this possible? Well, he's already a president, and he has run 2 terms, he's been voted elected 2 terms, and there's a thing in the Constitution that says he can't run because the last guy that went 3 terms, they decided it was too much. Well, that's not about this story here. So we can be worried about that. But if one of your worries is the fact that he'd be really, really old, guess what? Cameroon said, "Hold my beer." Cameroon's 92-year-old president, Paul Biya, wins re-election, extending decades in power. The Constitutional Council declared that, Paul Biya, the winner, getting 53.66% of the vote. Not bad work, but securing a 8th term. I'm not sure how long terms go, but he is 92 years old. So, yeah. Opposition leader Issa Troka Bakimi rejected the result, alleging fraud and reporting violence near his home. Protests, internet restrictions, and clashes followed as rights groups flagged some repressive concerns. Biya has ruled the nation of Cameroon since 1982, since I was in second grade, making him the world's longest serving elected head of state. International pressure is likely to rise, but near term change looks unlikely. He wins the votes somehow, some way. He is still your president of Cameroon, Paul Biya. Candace Owens is back in our radar, and we aren't exactly thrilled about it, but she came up with a claim that's way, way out there. With all the other way, way out there things right now, we need a little bit of something to take us off the edge. So this one is that billionaires, some of the richest and most smartest people in the world, aren't human, literally. She's claimed that Elon Musk, Sam Altman, they're hybrids. Also Peter Thiel, because their eyes are weird and she doesn't think they bleed. And when she's been in their presence, there's been some sort of funkiness that wasn't quite humanity there. The clip's gone viral from a show that she's did a few weeks back, calling the 3 folks hybrids. Something in their eyes that means they're not humans. The claim actually ricocheted across X and YouTube, drawing ridicule and renewed debate over conspiracism and mainstream discourse. Yes, ridicule because Candace Owens has to be relevant right now, and being sued by the Macrons isn't enough. And conspiracyism because some people are going for it. Some people really do believe there's something really odd with guys like these who are doing their best to overtake the norms that we have and sort of change the way the world works, because that is weird too. Now, tech and politics reporters are framing it as attention grabbing, because it is, rather than a substantial critique of the AI guys. Most of these guys are involved in some way with AI and some way of changing the world. And of course, Elon Musk wants to have 100 children to repopulate the world for whatever is happening. The other thing that's really interesting about this one is I could not get an actual article from this one that was from the United States. No one wanted to touch this one. The Times of India and the Hinduistan Times were all over this one as a story. YouTube has the clips going back, and plenty of folks are actually commentating on it. But as far as an actual news headline done by like Anderson Cooper staring into the camera saying, Candace Owens believes that these tech billionaires are hybrids. We now go to Nick Fuentes for his comments. No, nothing like that. No one is actually covering it, which means I might be being suckered, but I am always suckered when it comes to Candace Owens. I have a beef that she doesn't know about, so she doesn't care. But try to avoid Candace Owens news because it's always sensationalized, always overblown, and she doesn't deserve it. We're going to give her this one because there's so many other things that people who are actually in power don't deserve in the news. We need a bit of a cleansing, if you will. We did a hot take on it already, so check that out as well. And because I'm sort of bumbling this one because the transition is going to be terrible from this one to the next one. We did a hot take on this story as well, where I literally lost all my marbles when I saw the headline and went deeper into it and did some research, read some more articles, put it into the robot editing system, got research from there, and just after about an hour of just suffering through this thought process, my faith in humanity is definitely waning. The headline for our version of the story is Singles Pay $200 for the Feel Sessions, a new trend helping people heal through human touch. Somatic singles workshops like the Feels promise connection through eye gazing, hand holding, and guided breath work, part mixer, part therapy. Tickets often run in the low hundreds. Organizers pitch it as a safer alternative to a dating app churn. Yes, you can get to meet people without having to swipe and get to know some folks and gaze into their eyes and see if the gaze is where you want to go and touch them lightly without having anything erotic. Demand is rising in post-pandemic loneliness and the broader wellness spending going forward. I mean, it's if you go to a spa, you can get a massage, you can, touch somebody's hand gently in an environment where people are guiding you through that gentle touch, but nothing erotic. And no smoke on here. Less booze too. Critics question the boundaries and training standards, like who's actually doing this stuff. And operators are countering this with consent protocols and clear rules. Copycats will come about, other than the Beatles and whoever their main sponsor charter is, but start looking for all sorts of weirdness, as in people gathering just to touch each other, but only touch each other. Good touch, not bad touch. In a world where we are so lonely, we are going to pay other people to sit in a room with us together to touch strangers. I don't have a way to get out of this. I don't. I really don't. Watch the hot take. I go crazy. It doesn't. Uh, Ground news. Ground News is our spotlight sponsor for the day, and Ground News offers you a chance to go deeper into the stories. If you're a bit wiggy about this field story, oh, trust me, it's real. Ground News will show you who's covering it, how it's being covered, and the people behind it. The people behind the headlines, people behind the stories, people behind the people that I still can't get off that stupid field. I just can't do it. The people behind the people who give you the news. Let's just say it. Whenever I'm not flustered by the Fields or Candace Owens, Ground News is our chance to check out stories. We literally look to Ground News look for more stories on Candace Owens, and no one's covering it. So that's how we knew it was just so out there, fantastical. And the Fields is going to basically throw me into a tizzy that will roll well into Thanksgiving and Christmas. I just can't get over that. However, comma, Ground News will get you through whatever you need to in your news gathering because it'll give you access to essentially all the news aficionados that you want to, all the news sources you can get, and tells you side by side what they're producing, how their headlines and stories all look, not look the same, how their articles are framing stories moving forward, and most importantly, if you pay for the Advantage plan, you can get the blind spot feature and see what stories a particular slant are overselling you and what they're underselling you, whether you fall into a conservative mindset or a liberal mindset. You're being you're being overtaken with stories. You are being um, gaslit. Everyone's gaslighting you. I can't speak. The stupid feel story just is just there. I can't do this. But I need you to check out Ground News because we need the cash because somehow I'll have to get over this stupid story and we'll give you better news soon. So if you go to our link at this, it's theconversationproject.com/ground news, you can get the Advantage plan and all the plans at Ground News for 40% off. That's less than $10 a month for great news coverage that can expound what you're doing and hopefully get you past. I can't get past that story. I'm sorry. I just can't. You can. I sure hope so. And you can get past all your other stories and all your worries about other things by going to Ground News. Use our link. This is a conversationproject.com/ground news. This is a conversationproject.com/ground news and get 40% off the Vantage plan. We get a small commission. This is a link. Hydration break. Come up our website, see more sponsors. The Fields, Ground News. If you want to complain about me and the Fields today is a great day to do it. You can reply in this video, give me something in the chat, and of course, email us at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. If I picked the wrong story, and oh boy, did I pick the wrong story today, let me know what stories I probably should have done. The feeds on Facebook and X allow you to enter in your votes and what's going on. Unfortunately, way too many folks wanted the Fields, and that's why it's here. But you can engage with our feeds there and tell us as we post news articles, headlines every 50 minutes or so. Your engagement on them on the social medias helps us pick the stories to present to you here and what stories are good for hot takes as well. Of course, all the things you need to know about the Conversation Project live in our online cubbyhole. That is this. It's theconversationproject.com. Campaign is Tuesday, October 28th, 2025 edition of Things You Might Not Have Heard is done. And if it weren't for me getting stuck on the fields, we've been done in record time because we rolled pretty good. Even talking about Hurricane Melissa and rambling about Candace Owens and, how the government needs to open up because babies need food and people need to get on their airplanes soon. Yeah. We missed yesterday. Sorry about that. Had some issues going through that, but we're doing our best to keep going. Now, what we could use from you guys is literally the part where I beg you for money is money. So stop by our website and consider being a partner or going to our sponsors or just ask what you can do to help us out because we need a bit more extra support on the back end so that this thing right here and all the more better media stuff I produce for media content and things like that can be a big part of literally paying the bills. So I don't have to worry and lean on some other things out there from side gigs that are out there as well. This side gig can be a bigger side gig, if you will. Love you. Mean it. Don't do the fields. Don't do the fields. Just don't do it. But we are going to do more news stuff hopefully tomorrow with more hot takes, more short takes. Maybe something in this video will survive as a short to go through today and another edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Hopefully tomorrow.